under the banner of Gauteng Civil Society Forum, and they are upset with the DSD reprioritizing and the inferior stipends, and what is the new regulation for NPOs in Gauteng. So what we're going to do is uh, let's welcome him and let's understand why the strike action and what is caused the strike action. So my guest is Comrade Oupa Shumeni. He's a founder and executive director of an organization called Healing Hands, working with various programs, including orphan and vulnerable children. He's a community leader, a man of less words and more action, and the Gauteng Civil Society Chairperson, just the type of person I like. I like people who mobilize and they are action people. So let's welcome Oupa Shumeni to After Inspire Afternoon Enlightenment. Good afternoon, Mr. Shumeni, and welcome to Salam Media.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Okay, thank you. So tell me why this mother of all strikes and why are all the MPOs joining forces, so to speak, and protesting against the new prioritization and what they've been called inferior stipends. What is the reason for the 17th April 2023 strike?
Thanks so much. We have organized this big march that we are calling it's a mother of all in our province. On the 24th, before 24th, let me come to the 5th. On the 5th of April, we were convened by the MEC to Galaga Estate, where she pronounced in terms of this reprioritization that she's moving monies from the elderly, disability, and the HIV. It's taking all these monies to the substance, and then we don't have any problem about that. What she's doing. But after she pronounced, when leaders went to get their service level agreement that we are signing all these years, we find that the MEC, she's lying by saying she's not cutting the budget. When you look at the monies, the salaries of the managers, social workers, social auxiliary workers, child and youth care workers, and the caregivers, their salaries are cutted off with the 55%. Hence, the uh, this big march of the 20th, where we said we want the whole Gauteng government to understand our frustrations so that they can be able to understand uh, our frustrations as Gauteng people. The second one is that I'm leading the whole of Gauteng. I'm co-chairing with the Premier in the AIDS Council. We have just launched the AIDS Council. We have launched the NSP 2023 to 2028 with the Deputy President. And the 8 provinces have actually put money into the AIDS response. Only Gauteng that decided to remove the money from the AIDS response. Hence, this march on Thursday, that all the sectors that are under my leadership, they must converge to go and hand over the memorandum that speaks to the budget cut. Also, that's
Oh, we lost Oupa Shumeni. So let me just tell you. Civil society, so MPOs are upset regarding this budget cut, and also we've been made to understand that the process in which funding is going to be received has also changed. So there's a lot of ways in which MPOs operate. Please understand that MPOs the work they do is very much dependent on the funding they receive. They receive funding from uh, business community, individuals, private sector as well, but also government then gives them money. And this is in when they forecast for budgets for MPOs in terms of the work that they do and the projects they undertake, the daily feeding schemes, educational schemes, advocacy groups, um, uh, empowerment programs. These are very much dependent on proper funding that they receive and also continuous funding they receive. So when there are budget cuts or even when auxiliary workers or social workers funding gets lessened or budgets are cut, this has a huge impact and it directly affects how they operate. And ultimately, it's people on the ground, the most vulnerable, the most impoverished, the most under resources that always bear the brunt, and their life then becomes very difficult. Just when MPOs are doing sterling work to try and uplift communities and individuals, budget cuts and situations like this then really affect the good work and the progress that they do. So very very important that well, it's good that civil society as well as NPOs are joining forces, are coming together and sending out a memorandum to the department. Next week we are going to get Gauteng Department of Social Welfare to respond and find out why the budget cuts, especially on the AIDS, where other eight provinces have retained the way they're working, and uh, why did Gauteng deem it necessary to remove that? I've got Oupa back with me on the line. Oupa, so you were telling us we lost you when you said that you're going to hand the memorandum over because because of the Gauteng not retaining the AIDS budget. What are the other issues? Because I see you got the inferior stipends. So what is the inferior stipends that you are campaigning against?
Uh, our caregivers are getting, they were getting 2,400 when I round it off. Now
Mm-hmm.
the department is saying they are going to get 1,000 rand and 79 cents. So you ask yourself, to the people that are actually having houses, how are they going to pay the houses? People that are renting from the backyard, how are they going to pay their rent with that 1,000 rand? The 1,000 rand doesn't even buy a grocery, the decent grocery. If you are saying you are going to allocate 1,000 rand for the whole month for a person to work for
So,
1,000 rand,
Opa,
hence
also, you
you're
said there was, sorry to interrupt you, we're running out of time. And what was the reprioritization? Is there a whole different way of how the process that NPOs has to apply for funding? Or what is the reprioritization on the poster?
now they say they are now building internal capacity, meaning government is taking some of the services to the government. They are now removing all these services to the NPOs. Example, your shelters, they are removing shelters from the NPOs to the government. They also say for the substance, they want to do it for themselves. Remember, when Panyaza took over, the first promise that he did, it was the farm where it's going to build for these people living, that people that are utilizing the substance.
Okay, so also what I want to understand is does the Gauteng legislature and the MECs as well as the premier, do we have capacity? So if they're going to take over the shelters or get new shelters, others in the interim, how is the transfer process going to work? And does government have capacity to actually undertake all this, because if they want to reprioritize and keep it under the provincial capacity and run it from the province themselves, but does government, because we don't want to see another issue life epidemic that happening when you took it away from the private sector and you took it away from there, and then what had happened, how many lives were lost. So all these things, does, in your estimation and your assessment, does government have the capacity then to absorb all these functions and these social services under their wing? Do they have the capacity, or are we going to see down the line another life epidemic issue? Unfortunately, we lost Oupa Shumeni. So these are just questions, food for thought. But when we get the relevant spokespersons or even the MECs themselves, we will ask these questions for them. But very, very valid points indeed, in terms of valid concerns and not points, I beg your pardon, regarding the reprioritization and the budget cuts and reduced stipends for caregivers, especially with inflation and cost of food basket increasing. This is concerning. So let's watch. Opa, you there? I just a minute. What I need. My last question I asked you was: does government have capacity in your estimation, or down the line are we going to see something? We pray not, but God forbid, another life is happening because now government wants to take over these responsibilities. I've lost Opa, so let's round up the segment. And my voice is also going. So let's round up the segment and we will get the government response in the upcoming week.